Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulihil Karim wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man istanna bi sunnatihi ila yawmiddin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers. Last two weeks we did Hudaybiyah, the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, part 1 and part 2. Inshallah ta'ala, today finishing off the incident of the Hudaybiyah, the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. So today lecture, inshallah ta'ala, it will be the benefits that we can derive from this Treaty of Hudaybiyah, and some benefits that the scholar has derived. To be honest, there are books written only the benefits of the Hudaybiyah, because it is one of the greatest events in the life of Rasulullah sallallahu, because for that time, at the current environment in our world, it is very easy to make a treaty or a contract with two parties. Like, if you're leasing a house, leasing a place to rent, this is a contract also. But at that time, there's nothing like this treaty you call. People used to fight with each other. If you want to grab something, this is my land, this is your land, this is my animal, this is your animal. People used to fight at that time. So to come to a treaty, it is one of the greatest benefit and one of the greatest blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So today we'll very quickly go through some of the benefits, the major. There are lots of them, but some of them that we can derive from this treaty of Hudaybiyah. Before that, we'll just start with some questions, maybe. Which surah was revealed about the Hudaybiyah? We talked about which surah of the Quran has revealed about the Hudaybiyah. Anybody, please? I have chocolates. I can give one chocolate. Where is brother Alamin? Sorry? Yeah, I've got chocolate. We told this so many times, brothers. Which surah? Anybody? Okay. Surah Al-Fatha. Surah Al-Fatha. It is surah number 48. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the whole surah, actually, this is one of the surah of the Quran that the whole surah come down, that is revealed at the same time. From the first to the last, it was 29 verses, 29 ayahs of the surah. The whole surah come when Rasulullah was on his way after the treaty has been done. The Sahaba was a bit upset because they couldn't do the Umrah, so they had to shave their hair, as we mentioned last week. So they followed the Rasulullah, they shaved their hair, and they just went back. Instead of going to the Masjid al-Haram, instead of entering the Makkah, they're going back to Medina. And on the way, everybody was a little bit upset and everything. And as you know, Umar he was angry and furious. But at the end, Rasulullah was happy with the joy when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this surah. Now this surah was revealed on the way to Medina. So is this a Makki surah or a Medina surah? What do you think? Is it a Makki surah or a we have two types of surah, Makki and Madani. Madani. Why is Madani? It's not in.
It's already been reciting.
Sorry?
They were already reciting in Medina. They were on the way to
Medina. Yeah. They are not on the way to Medina, but they are not in there. But because any surah that has been done after the hijrah of Rasulullah is Madani surah. Any surah that was done, that was revealed after the hijrah of Rasulullah, because Rasulullah made hijrah to Medina how long ago? Almost 7 years ago now. This is the 7th year of the hijrah. So any surah after that is called Madani surah. Any surah before hijrah is called Makki surah. That's one of the strongest opinion. And also in this surah, Allah revealed that that Allah's hand is on the hand of this is one of the very important ayah. I think it's ayah number 10. Allah is saying when the Sahaba, they give allegiance to Rasulullah because Usman was inside the Makkah and he was not coming back, he was not returning, so he was delayed, and the rumor became that someone has killed Usman radhiyallahu anhu. So they became together, and Rasulullah said, no, we're not going to leave without revenging the death of Usman. So Rasulullah also thought that Usman is dead, so they were ready to fight. And then he asked, who is with me? And that is, we described that everybody is tired and everything, but still they give bayat to Rasulullah under a tree. It's called Bayatul Ridwan. And then Allah said, when they give their allegiance, their hand, Allah's hand was on top of their hand. Meaning Allah is saying he is so happy that Allah also give the bayah actually. Basically, they are not giving bayah to Rasulullah only, they are giving bayah directly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the praise of the Sahaba in this surah. And also the mention of the word Muhammadur Rasulullah. The last ayah of this surah is start with Muhammadur Rasulullah, and Allah described the honor and the blessings of Rasulullah with the people who are with the Sahaba. there are only 4 places Allah mentioned the name Muhammad in the Quran. There are 4 places. And Muhammadur Rasulullah, like we say, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, this is twice in the Quran only. There is one of this surah, and there's another surah. I forgot the name of the other surah. And also another thing, the last ayah of this verse, as I'm saying, the Muhammad, this is a big verse, and this is the only 2 verses where all the Arabic letters are present. So that's like a trivia question. All the Arabic 28 or 29 letters that we know, from Alif to the Ya, every letter is present in this ayah. And there's another ayah of Surah Al-Imran, ayah number 154, that also has this all ayah. So there's only 2 ayah that has all this thing. So this is just something about the surah. So now we start with the benefits and the lesson of the Treaty of the Hudaybiyah. And the first benefit, the Seerah benefit, meaning what does it benefit in the life of Rasulullah. So obviously, before Quraysh used to think Muslim as a small group, or not even a group. They think some people, and they used to kill and torture the Muslim. Now they came and they understood Muslim as a big team. They came as a big group from a different city of Medina, and so now the tide is changing. Basically, they have automatically given them the preference. Sometimes we have few small group, and we don't say no, these people don't care. But when the group becomes bigger and bigger, we give them recognition. Although we don't like them here, they are enemy to us. But the Quraysh is saying no, they are a big party, because the treaty happens between 2 parties. So the tide is changing. And another thing is that this is a major sign that Islam is true. This number of the people are growing and growing and growing. In the Battle of the Badr, it was only 300 people. In Battle of Uhud, it was only 700. And in the Battle of the Ahzab that we described, it was only around 1,000. Now, in this Hudaybiyah, there's 1,400 people. So within 7 years, the number is growing, growing, and growing. And also because of this, after this Treaty of Hudaybiyah, and before the conquest of Makkah, there is another batch of Muslim. So they are hardcore Quraysh. They are the fighter of the Quraysh, basically. And those 3 people become Muslim. One of them was Khalid bin Walid. And who is Khalid bin Walid? After Islam taking what he became. He was the sword of Allah, the Saifullah. Khalid bin Walid, and Usman ibn Abi Talha, and also Amr ibn As. Amr ibn As was the diplomat of the Quraysh. Amr ibn As is the guy who went to Abyssinia to deal with the Najashi to get the Sahaba back. So he was a very, very smart man. So all these 3 people became Muslim. Nobody forced them or anything after the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, because they also understood, no, this is not something lie. This man, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he has something. There's people are following him, and they're growing and growing and growing. Abu Bakr became Muslim so quickly, right? In one, Rasulullah said, I became a prophet. Jibril come to me giving wahi. Abu Bakr accepted it right away. But not everybody like Abu Bakr. So people take time. So people like Khalid bin Walid, the Amr ibn As, so they become Muslim after the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, and this is one of the benefits of the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. And also the Muslim got a comfort and the peace of security, because now they have the treaty, they cannot fight each other. So they have a comfort, because otherwise they always used to think after Badr next year Uhud happened. They can always think in Medina that any time can Quraysh can attack. But now they have the treaty, so Muslim can concentrate on other things, because Quraysh was on their tail all the time. But because of the treaty, they have the comfort, and this is because they could take care of other things. What are the other things? You will see the next week will start the Battle of the Khaybar. What is the Battle of the Khaybar? Khaybar is a place very near to Medina, and where still the Jewish people are there, and they are still giving the problem of Rasulullah. But because they are, the Quraysh is also giving the problem, so Muslim couldn't take care of this thing. And Allah mentioned in this Surah Al-Fatha that you are upset and everything, but very soon Allah will give you a big ganima, and that is the biggest ganima in the life of Rasulullah. He got one of the biggest ganima is Khaybar. So Allah is mentioning here, so Muslim now can concentrate on other things. And also because of this, Rasulullah started writing letters to the different kings of the world. So far he was thinking locally. He was thinking about Medina. He was thinking about Makkah. That's it. Because he couldn't think, his thinking is there, but he couldn't take action, because they are always coming and attacking the Quraysh. But now that there is a peace treaty, he started writing letters to different kings, as you all know, to the kings of the Persia, the kings of the Roman, and the kings of the Egypt, all these kings he started writing the letters in the next year or so because of the treaty. And also the interaction with the pagans, meaning before people from Medina to Makkah, if they meet somewhere, they are like enemy to each other, because you're Muslim, I'm a pagan, he's a mushrik. So, but now there is a treaty, and they start talking to each other. They can do business together, and the most important thing, they can talk about Islam. Before, in the Battle of Badr, they fight. They couldn't spread the dawah. That was a jihad, that was a dawah, but it's one kind of dawah. In the Battle of Uhud, they fight again. In the fighting, you don't say, okay, these are the good things of Islam. You cannot say these things. You don't have time and you're just fighting. But now they have the time to talk to the general people and give the dawah of Islam. And that's why the dawah of Treaty of the Hudaybiyah is much more powerful than the dawah of the jihad. And how we know that? Because within 2 years, after the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, within 2 years, Rasulullah conquered the Makkah. And this time, how many people I said was here? 1,400 people. 1,400 people were in Hudaybiyah. When Rasulullah entered the Makkah, the people was 10,000. Imagine, from 1,400, maybe some more in Medina, some ladies were staying at Medina, some more, so maybe around 2,000 suppose at that time. Within 2 years, this 2,000 became 10,000. Where did this 8,000 come in 2 years? Because of the spreading of the dawah, lot of people accepted Islam, and they understand what is the value of the Islam, and they became Muslim. And the last thing is that this is the pathway to conquest of Makkah, because if there is no Treaty of Hudaybiyah, the conquest of Makkah wouldn't have happened. How this has happened, we'll talk when we come to the conquest of Makkah, inshallah ta'ala. The next one is some benefits and lessons from the Aqidah benefits. Aqidah means, what we believe, what is allowed in Islam and everything. So we'll just very quickly go through this one. The permissibility of guarding the Muslim ruler. There is a hadith of Rasulullah. He said, if a leader expect that, when he comes to a place, in a majlis, and people will stand up, like, our days president does. Like, if the president comes in, and the judge comes into the court, we all stand up, give him the honor. Rasulullah said, if a leader expect this from his people, from his followers, he will have a place in Jahannam, because he's asking honor from them directly. So that's what the hadith like this. But in the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, we saw that whenever the people was coming to talk to Rasulullah from the other side, he was guarded by the Abu Bakr, Usman, and Umar, and also the other Sahaba who was standing with the sword. So how come it says? Because that is the time that it is the permissibility of the ruler, because it's the time of the treaty. Imagine if Rasulullah was sitting in a place of Hudaybiyah, and Sahaba are sitting here and there, nobody is near him. So when Quraysh will come, they will understand that they are all together. To show the unity, everybody was around Rasulullah with the sword. And we talked about this, how one of the guy was trying to hold the beard of Rasulullah, and other Sahaba was tackling him with the sword. So all these things were happening. So from these, the scholar said it is permissible for Muslim ruler to have guards around him when it's time to talking or dealing with the enemy or the other party. The second thing is the fa'al. Fa'al, we always talk about what is fa'al. Fa'al, as you say, is good omen. The good sign. In Islam, good sign is acceptable, but with two conditions. It will be a positive sign, nothing negative. We cannot say, like, we mentioned this before, there's a black cat running in front of my car, so it's something bad. I have seen one bird or something, it's bad. No, nothing bad can accept in Islam. There's no bad luck. Basically simple, there's no bad luck in Islam. We don't expect it. But good luck or, good sign is there. As I mentioned before, I gave an example, like, you're making tahajjud and then the fajr become, and you see a nice rainbow in the sky, or the sky becomes very shiny, and you say, okay, I made the dua and I can see a nice sky, so maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted. It's a positive sign. So one condition is should be a positive sign, and you relate the sign to the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And how do you know this thing? Because Rasulullah said, the Suhail is coming from the Quraysh. And Suhail, the meaning of the word Suhail means easy. So he says, Allah is sending the Suhail, so inshallah ta'ala it will be easy for us now. Because the Muslim was tired and everything, nothing was happening. So when the Suhail ibn Amr was coming from the Quraysh, Rasulullah said, Suhail is coming, it will be easy for us. So from there, scholar says, the fa'al is accepted in Islam, the positive sign is accepted in Islam. Also the incident of rain, I didn't mention it before, I'll just quickly mention what happened, because they stayed in Hudaybiyah for a few days. And one day, it was raining heavily at night. When the people went to sleep at night, it was raining very heavily, so everybody was in their tent and everything. So some Sahaba, because they still have some Jahili practice in them, some Sahaba woke up in the morning and they said, last night the stars were there, so they have some superstition. The two stars they can see in the sky, because of this star it rains so heavily. So then Rasulullah said, whoever said these things, he has rejected Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and accepted the stars. So basically, when we all know these things, if I am sick and if I go to a doctor, if the doctor cured me, we are not allowed to say the doctor has cured me. We should say, Allah has cured me through the efforts of the doctor. If I get a job, if some brother give me a job, I don't say, no, this brother helped me, give me rizq. No. We say, Allah has provided me the rizq through this brother. So we should say like this way. So this is the thing that is mentioned here. Also the cutting of the, the tree, cutting of the tree. The tree that, we talked about this also, the tree that take the bayah from. And later on in the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, some people are sitting on the tree, they are rubbing their back, they are hanging something in the tree. They thought it's like very blissful tree. But Umar radiallahu anhu, he said no, just cut the tree because it can produce shirk, and that was also happening. And you can see this in different countries like in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. That there are so many things that they worship and everything. The mazars and all these things. Also the blessings from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as we mentioned, that the Sahaba was so much in love with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They used to honor Rasulullah so much. When he used to do spit, they used to catch the spit and put it in their body as a barakah. Any water, when Rasulullah do wudu, the remaining water, they used to catch the remaining water, put it in their body, and it was a barakah for them. So this is only allowed for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is not allowed for any other pious person. But we know that a lot of people doing this. They have peer and all these things, and they do these things. But it is allowed only for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also, there is a hadith. Rasulullah asked one of the Sahaba, "Why are you collecting my wudu water or something like this?" So he said, "Ya Rasulullah, I'm doing it because for the barakah of Allah subhanahu wa taala." Then Rasulullah said, "If you are truthful in your speech, if you are trustworthy with your amana, and if you don't irritate your neighbor, that is more better than this." So what Rasulullah is trying to say, my hair or my water, my spit, my sweat, this is good, no problem. He's not saying not to do that. But if you become a good person, you're truthful in your speech, if you trust with your amana, and you are good with your neighbors, this is better than to do this one. And this is Rasulullah saying this hadith for us, because we cannot collect the water of Rasulullah. We cannot have his hair. We cannot have his sweat. So how are you going to get that blessing? So Rasulullah said, if we do these three things, we'll be, inshallah, get more blessing than getting the things of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also the opinion of Quran and Sunnah, meaning, never ever we should judge that our own opinion is better than Quran and Sunnah. Here, Umar radiallahu anhu, he's become frustrated because they came from so far away. And then Rasulullah saying, let's go back now. We have to have a treaty. And whatever the Quraysh said, he accepted that. Quraysh says, Bismillah ar-Rahman, no, don't write Bismillah ar-Rahman rahim. Everything was Rasulullah was accepting from the Quraysh. So Umar became angry. But at the end, he understood, no, he should not say anything above the opinion of Rasulullah or above whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. So from that, we know that one. Also, the last point is a controversy that happened in Ford. It's an interesting thing. I think probably you may know or you may not know. What happened basically in the 4th century in Andalus, in Spain, that time the Muslims were ruling the Spain. There is this very big scholar of Maliki Madhab. His name was Abul Walid of Al-Baji. He was a very great Maliki scholar, and he said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam knew how to read and write. And some of the scholars also followed him at that time. So this is almost 400 years later I'm talking about. But why I'm talking about this is related to this event. He said Rasulullah could write and read. Although the Quran say Al-Nabiyul Ummi. Ummi means unlettered prophet. Rasulullah, in the Quran it is said Al-Nabiyul Ummi. But this scholar, he is saying no. He used to know how to read and write. And because of this, the Sultan of that time, he said with the other majority of scholars that whoever says Rasulullah can read and write, he's a kafir. So they did takfir. So basically they say whoever follows this scholar and say, why they say they're the kafir? Because they are saying, because you are rejecting the ayah of the Quran. Quran says, Al-Nabi al-Ummi, that the Prophet doesn't know how to read and write, and you are saying you read and write. So there was a court case. And this sheikh, this Maliki sheikh, he was brought into the court. And he was asked, why are you saying this one? What is your evidence? And the first evidence he gave, the Treaty of the Hudaybiyah. Because there is a hadith in the Bukhari where it says that when Ali radiallahu anhu denied that I'm not going to cut Muhammadur Rasulullah, Rasulullah take the parchment and he wrote Muhammad ibn Abdullah. That's what it says in Bukhari. And that is his main evidence. Then the Sultan said, there's the ayah of the Quran where Allah said this ayah is in Surah Al-Ankabut. If you go home, you can read it. Surah Al-Ankabut, ayah number 48, where Allah said that, Oma kunna tutla alayhi, meaning you have never ever recited any book or you have written anything. So how come you say that he has written? What is about this? What Allah is saying here? That the scholar said this is a proof for me, because Allah said mim ba'dihi, or min qablihi, meaning before. So what he said, that before Rasulullah became a prophet, he couldn't read or write, but after that he could read or write. But the majority of the scholars say no, it is not true. To be honest, actually they couldn't jail him or anything, because he has evidence for everything. He was a very good scholar, so he has evidence for everything. So they let him go, and the minority opinion is that yes, he could read and write after he became prophet, but the majority of the opinion is that no, Rasulullah cannot read and write. And about the hadith of the Bukhari, where it says that Rasulullah wrote Muhammad ibn Abdullah, some scholar, the majority of the scholars describe it in a different way. Their explanation is that if I say the committee member of this mosque build this mosque, does it mean that they started working like a labor here and build this mosque? No. They are the committee, they decided and they commanded to build the mosque. So there are people come under him and say, if I say the emperor build the street, or the councillor build the street, he doesn't himself build the street. He commanded to build the street. So when it says Rasulullah wrote Muhammad ibn Abdullah, he commanded to write the name Muhammad ibn Abdullah. So this is how the scholar explained the hadith in the Bukhari. So the majority of the opinion is that no, Rasulullah is al-ummi, so he doesn't know how to read or how to write. So that is the majority of the opinion. But this is an interesting thing that happened, and so I'd like to mention it here. Now the last thing is this here today, the fiqh benefit, and we know that the permissibility of the treaty with enemy. Meaning what? Like in Islam, we are permitted that even if we have an enemy, we can have a peace treaty with them. So the Quraysh was the worst enemy of Islam. There is no other enemy as bad as Quraysh. They wanted to kill Rasulullah so many times. They wanted to kill him. They made him expel Makkah. They kicked him away basically from Makkah. But still, Rasulullah made a peace treaty with them. So that's why to make a peace treaty with a non-Muslim country and everything, there's a lot of things behind this one, a lot of books and everything written in the modern political science. According to Islam, it is allowed to make treaty, and some of the current scholars from Saudi and other people, they say this treaty, because Imam Shafi said that this treaty can be had only 10 years, because Rasulullah made the treaty of Hudaybiyah for 10 years. Rasulullah made the treaty for 10 years. So say, as Rasulullah made 10 years, you can make a treaty for 10 years, not more than that. That is the opinion of Imam Shafi, but other scholars say no, you can make even permanent treaty, peace treaty. So if some Saudi has a treaty with USA, and it can be permanent treaty, peace treaty between USA and Saudi, according to the current scholars, and Allah knows the best. And then the fiqh of muhasir, as we said, that if you're going for Hajj or Umrah, but you stop at Dubai and some storm happen or something happen, there's no plane, you have to come back to Australia, you cannot do the Umrah, so you shave your hair at Dubai, you come back to Australia. So that's another fiqh point we already mentioned. And another thing is that the permissibility of getting out of the ihram. As you know, like when you are ihram, you're not allowed to cut your hair, you're not allowed to put clothes, all these things you know. But if there's a dire situation, you need to do that. So what happened here, one of the Sahaba, he was in ihram, but his head got infected with lice, and it was too much lice. And Rasulullah saw that what's happening with your hair. He said, "Oh, Ya Rasulullah, I got lice in my hair." So Rasulullah tell him, you cut your hair, although you're in ihram, you shave off your hair now and give fidya. So that's what we know that. So this is the incident, it comes from here, that this is how it's happened. So inshallah ta'ala, these are some benefits that we can summarize today. And inshallah we will stop it here. Next week inshallah ta'ala we will start the battle of the Khaybar. Jazakallahu khair. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.